Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in to Season 2, Episode 4.
Yes.
Episode 4 right now,
Wow,
yes.
that's crazy. Thanks very much. My name's Brandon Curry.
I'm Jeff Collins.
Josh Bond.
And Trevor Lindy.
So we had a couple great guests over the last couple of episodes, which is great. But we have something that I wanted to kind of get our listeners up to speed of what's happening right now, just with us personally. So we, as a lot of our listeners know, we do refer each other quite a bit, and but we also use each other quite a bit for our own personal stuff as well. More of a heads up, Condo. You're gonna get into getting something your way pretty soon. So
I was figuring, where's the segue coming?
Previous episodes, you've heard Jeff make facetious comments about getting your parquet flooring done and making sure you're updating your places in order to sell. Well, that was more towards me. I have a rental property. I've had a rental property for about 10 years. And great tenants now. They've just decided to sell. And quite frankly, I'm ready just to cash in and just get out of the market.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So I hired on Jeff. Right?
Well, we haven't signed any papers yet. I'm hoping.
Well, no, you're hired.
That's
and because Jeff's like not a paperwork kind of a guy. So Jeff, we looked through, and you did an initial analysis for my wife and I. So go. What did you base that analysis on? And go.
Well, it was the current market, and I think we did it before Christmas too.
You did, but no, you redid it though.
Yeah, we redid it. Well,
Yeah,
the initial analysis, and this is important when you're selling a house, it's what current CMA is, our comparative market analysis. So if you did it 4 months ago, guess what? Especially in Niagara, it changes on a week-to-week basis. Yeah. So I was doing a tour the other day, and we do a caravan tour in Welland right now, headed by Joe Gonzalez. Great tour, but it's got all the brokerages coming together to look at properties and previewing them. And we try to give feedback on the pricing. It's very helpful because really in this business, the most important part is pricing the house. And I'd say the second most important part is preparing.
Which just goes to show you that you're professionals. And
well, I like to think I am. And the second most important is house preparation, which we're going to get to after I go off on this tangent like I always do. But we're going through, and one of the agents made a comment to me and said, well, what's your price? What's your house price in this right away? And I said, well, I didn't do my research on it. So, well, you should know, you're a professional. I go, well, I don't search every house price in every market in all of Niagara all the time. So if you want to be up to date, you have to go look at the current listings, solds, expired, suspended, all that, and you slot it in there where it should land. And so when we did yours initially, I think we were at 205 to 215. The initial,
is what you thought.
Yeah, we thought that's where they went for about, and the typical ones
in the condo building. I have a condo.
Yeah, and you could call this condo building parquet flooring condos because every single unit in there had parquet flooring.
That has been since the building was built.
Yeah, full disclosure, my cottage has parquet flooring.
Well, and that's like a 1980s kind of look for it, right? Yeah. But it's not just parquet that's new, and I don't think they even have new parquet flooring out there. I don't think that even exists anymore. It's almost like the plaid of the hardwood flooring. Yeah. And the problem is it was a very faded one, right? So my rule of thumb is, and when Trevor went through this recently too, when I sold his property, when you're selling a house, you get top dollar when it's move-in ready. You get multiple bidders. I almost could call it a 95-5 rule. Okay, that's the way I operate. 95% of buyers want move-in ready, 5% will look for the deals. When I go shopping for people I want to go buy, I look for that 5% because I can save people money. Because if they go to buy your house and we listed your condo at $220,000 and it needed new flooring, what do you think? And you know the flooring because you've gone through it. But if you went to average buyer and you said you want to put a new hardwood flooring in, for example, and you're looking
I'd immediately think $7 grand.
5 to 10.
5 to 10
5
grand.
to 10 grand, depending on how thick.
Depending on what I wanted. Yeah.
And the surface area.
And so if people aren't buying,
including install, because I don't know how a hammer works. So
well, most people install it and they do it wrong, and it's one of my pet peeves. You go look at it and they make it almost symmetrical on the laminate flooring, and it all lines up the little connection pieces, the transitions for it. And it's just an improper way to do it. And if you're a good agent, you walk through, or you're an inspector, you'll say, well, they did it themselves. They clearly didn't know what they're doing. They still use quarter round or shoe mold. You learned about shoe mold a little while ago. It's a more modern finish for the flooring. And so, anyways, we walked through the house, and it was very dated parquet flooring.
Yep.
It was very run down. Had traffic areas and all that. And I'm like, Brandon, and Brandon, to be honest, was awesome to work with. He was open-minded. He said, "You're the pro. You tell me what to do."
Literally, I didn't
Didn't even care. He said,
nope.
"Whatever. You tell me how much I got to do. Whatever. I don't care. Just, I don't want to do anything to take care of it." And it's perfect. That's the client I want.
Yep.
I said, and we had your flooring guy in Carlos.
Yep.
He came there too.
Carlos DeSantis.
And this where it was interesting. This is a guy selling flooring. Love him. Great product. And he said, "I wouldn't bother doing it." And I said, "Brandon, all due respect, I completely disagree. You gotta get rid of it."
And Carlo was basically doing that.
He's trying to save you some money.
He's a buddy of mine,
Yeah.
and he's also a buddy of all of ours. And he's not a pushy guy.
No.
He was just more like, well, I mean, you're just offloading it anyway, right?
Yeah.
He's like, you don't really have to.
But in my mind, the $3,500 approximately we put in for the flooring, more than that would have been taken off in negotiations in most cases. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a certain price point that we readjusted to the new market where it's going to be listed at, and we raised it, I'd say, getting some work done, maybe $20,000 from it. We haven't sold it yet, but I'm pretty confident we're going to get in the right price point for it. But we went through and I said, "Look, Brandon, you're probably looking at about $5,000 worth of it." And we had to update some other things too. And when you look through a house in that price point, first off, there's nothing on the market below $300,000 that's even reasonable. It's usually garbage, or it's something that's under 700 square feet, which we know you can't get mortgages on that easily. There's
Harder.
a lot of condos out there. They're a lot harder to get it done.
Requires good, solid credit and stuff
if
like
you're
that.
looking at
But
detached houses, for example, you need foundation issues, furnace, AC, roof, windows, all that stuff. Condos are nice because there's less risk for the buyer,
Right.
because the condo corporation's taken up a lot of that.
Sure.
And so in this case, we had to D1990s the house, and I mentioned that to you before.
You did?
So we're walking through parquet flooring's got to go. Here's a price, $3,500. And I said, okay, you also had slab doors on all the bedrooms.
Yep.
And if you go through someone's house, you see slab doors on it. And what I mean by that is just a flat door with no impressions on it or anything like that, not a 6-panel 800 series door. It just screams 1990s because nobody has that since then. So then people start questioning, well, how old is this condo? And they're looking at all that stuff. And then you have the ivory colored, they almost look like they're nicotine stained outlets and,
Yep.
and switches,
Yeah.
And they have these little ones like we actually have in this Roy LePage thing, which it's weird saying it right now because that's dated right there. But you have a thicker kind of switch for it, So I said, look, Brandon, let's just get rid of all that and put white there to match the white trim. And Brandon wanted on top of that, good for him. He wanted to paint all the trim too. I said, well, the return on investment is not so much because that's a higher price point to paint that. But I said, we should caulk along the top of the trim. Yeah. Okay, and if you're a builder, I'm a builder now, a finishing touch is to caulk all the trim and all that, caulk the crown molding, do all that stuff. If you can't do caulking, don't even think about it because, it's the worst job. And that's one of the worst things you see when people trying to get thumbprints everywhere and big fat blobs. And you get a pro do that, it makes a big difference. So we changed the doors, we painted the doors, we changed the electrical outlets, we caulked that. He also had a previous tenant that had a grease fire more or less on the ceiling, and he couldn't figure out how to get rid of that grease look for it. And when you're selling the house, there's a grease fire right up there, and you're, oh my God, these people are dirt bags that live here and all that. It was the previous tenants, so it had nothing to do against your current tenants.
Yep. Nope.
And he just didn't understand how to fix it. And painter people, you hire a pro painter, especially when you do what I do. Like I'm building houses now, and I have a lot of contacts, and they're after the builds for the main jobs. I said, well, you want to work with me, then I need the little jobs done too. It's the hand is going to feed the big thing.
But this is also too. This also drives home the fact, and I obviously refer Jeff as a realtor, but this we had one of your owners in a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah.
And Ryan, and basically it was. We chatted about dealing with a professional because this is what the professional brings to the table. And I joke, I don't know how a bloody hammer works. I'm just not that kind of a guy. But I truly believe in what you do because I saw what you did with Trevor's, the advice you gave Trevor and what you did with
that was me actually swinging the hammer, though, just so you know. I didn't cut myself with it like you
Which
did.
is not the style you and me do.
No, I'm not.
Someone else to do it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You almost lost your marriage because of it. No, I'm joking.
Come on now, who says that? That wasn't the case at all.
He went to Hawaii right after.
Yeah, he went to Hawaii,
to make
exactly.
that up.
That's because he did well.
Yeah, he did well, yeah.
He made good profit.
But just those types of that level of insight. And then afterwards, Carlo actually called me up, and we're gonna have him on the podcast when
Talk about parquet flooring.
Well, yeah, and we're gonna update everybody on. So everyone stay tuned because I'm gonna update everyone on what we got it for and what we sold it for and what he did, because I literally. Carlo goes, he's like, damn, he's like, he actually knows what he's talking about. This is like, it's really, really good. Not that he doubted you before, but you know what I mean? He's like, he's pretty switched on. He convinced me to sell you the flooring when he's like, I didn't.
Well, and you got to be confident in what you're doing and how you're explaining to people. And if you're wishy-washy about it, there's 100%. The door. No one's going to like it. But the interesting part will be the results of this, because it's going to be pushing boundaries on price for this particular unit, and on the square footage is smaller than the higher price. But I'm going to get it. I'm telling you, book it. I'm going to get it.
And I deal with Jeff, and I know a lot of your colleagues that are out there that are from different brokerages. Mm-hmm. And you guys are all in the same echelon of great realtors, because I literally just said, I don't know a caulking guy. I know a couple painters. I don't know,
I didn't realize caulking was an actual, that alone was the trade.
Yeah, is that a trade? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know.
Well, really, there could be, though, because
yeah,
you're a caulking specialist.
Finishing guy.
Finishing guy.
Yeah, finishing carpenter.
And literally, to Jeff's credit, he's like, don't worry, I got everybody. You want me to use the people that I know, and then that's kind of like how I work.
Brendan's like, you got the 16th and the 17th to get all that work done, and on top of that, you got to change the toilet.
and he
okay, done.
He did. He got it all done on the weekend that my tenants were out and gone. Yeah. So they were all done and dusted. So it was phenomenal.
And when they came back, they were impressed too.
They
right?
texted me saying, "Well, this looks really good." Now they have since decided they bought a home. I
heard they backed out of the deal and they want to keep the condo now.
Yeah. Oh, really?
No.
So
I hope
initially, you're
Did you tell them about your buddy lawyer when they went and bought a house?
I did, but I don't know. They had someone else, I guess. I'm not too sure. So,
well, initial assessment. If you look at the numbers now, 210, 220 in that ballpark, we thought
for the building,
we did
right?
$4,400, I think, about in renovations, and we're going to raise that up to $249. So and we're going to make every single person in that condo money, because we're going to raise the price on that.
Right. So you're basically turning around and. Sally McGarr is going to thank you, because
well, sure, she will.
Well, she has a couple condos.
Yeah. But the difference is when someone goes into your unit, there's absolutely nothing you need to do in that property. The flooring's good. You did the kitchen ahead of time.
Yep.
New vanity in the bathroom. It's 12 by 12 tile, which is not the best in the world, but you know what? It's a stylish looking tile that matches the floor, and the colors flow all the way through. And it's a 2-bedroom for around 1,000 square feet. Good luck finding a move-in ready place like that in anywhere in St. Catharines right now.
I'll give you $215 for it.
No.
You talk to me. You talk to me. We'll talk about it.
But yeah, so we were going to list it for about $219, $850, and you thought you were going to get.
We're going to take a shot in the 210s. We
210s, 215.
And actually, you were ecstatic about that.
I was.
From when you bought it, and I said no.
Because I bought it 10 years ago.
Let's push it. And
cheaper.
Well, I don't care. I don't mind to tell you. Yeah, bought in the high 90s.
Really, it's kind of
10 years ago.
The Property Brothers rule. If you ever watch that show out
Absolutely.
there, they go in there and they say, well, this is dated. This is garbage. This is not what they're going to like. The problem is when a realtor is going in there to assess the price of the house, a lot of times they're very leery of upsetting the client because they want to secure that listing. And then once they get that, it's usually it's a standard 6-month listing. That's what most people do. Brendan, just won't take that long to do it and sell it, but that's what most people ask for. And if you secure that listing and it doesn't sell, the course of action typically is a price drop, and then another price drop, and then another price drop. You see agents do that all the time. And the reason they're price dropping is because there's certain things that people are walking through and saying, that's parquet flooring. That's $10,000. I don't know who does it. Who do I get to do it? How am I not going to get ripped off?
Spoon feed people, right? Spoon
feed. You got a honey-do list when you're buying it. Say a husband and wife goes to buy the house, and the wife likes the area, likes the look. Maybe doesn't like that. The husband's kind of, not to be sexist or anything like that, or modern or whatever, but they're saying, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that. I got to put in $15,000, and someone could easily have looked at your house and said, change the toilet, painting that, doing all the trim, changing the doors, doing all the stuff, $10,000-$15,000 I got to do. And they're like, well, I'll just look for something else. But someone walks in there, you got that first week of a listing. It's new, it's sexy, everything's done. I can live in here for the next 10 years. I don't have to worry about anything or rent it out later on. I'm going to take this sucker. It's a turnkey operation for me. And they will pay a premium on it. So it's interesting to see what happened.
Trevor, want to chime in there?
Yeah, how did it work for you when we did yours? We talked about it before.
Again, same type of idea where you came in, looked at the house, and said, you know what, based on the current state of affair, being the junk pile that it was, well,
did
literally.
You have your appliance stolen out of there on the closing? Your tenants moved out?
A couple days before they had to vacate, they stole the fridge and the dishwasher. But anyways, that being aside, you assess how the house would be now at that point when you went in, and then from there it was look at, I would do flooring, I would do this, I would do that.
Paint's a huge
yeah,
thing.
paint, update the kitchen. What was it? Kitchen, bathroom, and flooring throughout was basically what you said. And
Yeah, obviously kitchen and bathroom's your biggest return, which Brendan had most of that done. He just needed the I don't know what you call it, sugar coating around, or the
Fine
edge work.
touches.
Yeah, the final touches. Really, flooring I think is a big thing. And the worst thing when people have a house and you see a lot of people flipping houses, and I don't know what they do. They must look for every sale on flooring because they have 7 kinds of flooring in the house, and you bring people through and they're like, what the hell is going on here? Like, did they own a flooring company? They buy it at garage sales?
Yeah.
When I build houses, we have a limit of 3 different kinds of flooring. That's it. So if we do tile, it's tile the same in the foyer, the bathrooms, the kitchen.
Sure.
Hardwood floor throughout, and maybe we put some carpet downstairs or a vinyl laminate click. But when you got 7 kinds of flooring, people are like, you can just see it in their eyes. They're like, the confidence is just eroded because the buyer's gonna try to make it all flow through. Once again, Property Brothers, if you see them flip a house, they want to tie everything together. They want the flow, same colors all the way through, same trim, same outlets and all that stuff, Sexy it up and boom, it sells for a sexy price, period.
And
But you got to know what to do. You got to be able to tell people what to do.
I was going to say, when it comes down to it, looking for those deals, it's easy enough to find them, right? It just take the time. I ended up finding my tile at Costco. If you didn't know, Costco's a great place to be buying the tile.
For entry-level flipping stuff. If you want to do some good stuff, go see Carlos. He's great.
Yeah, of course, right? But you know what? Having those contacts definitely helps for the overall situation when it comes to
and know the tile
having
size,
to finish.
12 by 24, not 12 by 12. It just that's non-existent in today's market. Maybe it comes back in a little while. I don't know. Maybe it's 20 by 20. It doesn't matter.
The reason I
So
bring
it's
up,
like color.
Costco and Rona and Lowe's and those places, not to take away from Carlo's business, but the reality is versus that person that's going and doing the garage sale shopping and picking, hey, let's do this, let's do that. Like I've got 10 boxes of extra flooring for renovating my basement right now. It's like I'm going to put it up on Kijiji. I can't return it to the store because it was end of life for it. Yeah, it was closeout pricing. So I got 10 extra boxes, and that'll be something that somebody would probably put into their home and when they're flipping.
Yeah, really to sum it all up and kind of wrap it up, I think you just need a professional who's confident to look in the eyes and say, no, you got to do this, and don't be nervous about. If you're nervous about losing the listing and all that, then you got to work up your confidence a little bit better. But you should know what do buyers want, what's going to help certain it, what's return on investment, and will this get sold? And really, it all starts with a good CMA to know what the market is out there. And we've talked about the market, so we're pushing the envelope, but I'm confident we'll get pretty darn close to it. If you never want to set the bar too high.
Sure.
But prepare it for market. Get it ready for market. Make it look good. You don't have to drop millions of dollars on it.
Nope.
Just ask me, for example. Just call me, period, and then you'll get it done right.
Simple.
But find out what to do it and the people that can do it for you, and then we'll check back in and see what the results are.
We'll check back in.
Whether or not I'm still on the podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like Trevor this episode.
Yeah. So.
Do you? Hey, that's
So,
okay.
well, thanks.
Nothing wrong with that.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. That's please tune in for
Results,
We're
yeah,
gonna
get the results.
update you, and then also we're gonna update. We're gonna bring back in.
We'll bring the
Dave-
buyer in. We'll
Dave-
bring the buyer in and do
Oh
a
God,
podcast.
that'll be awkward.
Yeah,
Dave,
no,
Dave,
thank you.
Dave Tutenberg from DJB to talk about capital gains. So this will be. We'll have a couple of episodes on it because then now I'm going to educate everyone on a live example of how capital gains works.
Yeah. Sure.
And then we'll bring in
Looks
you doing the paperwork and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then bring in Carlo and what he looks for and that kind of
flooring
stuff.
and all that, styles and
Perfect.
Lots to come.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, everyone.
Help us help you stay informed.
Take
Ciao.
care. Bye.
Out.